In this explosive book, which featured allegations that Harry beat up Prince Andrew and gave him a bloody nose during a scrap, Andrew allegedly warned Harry that his marriage to Meghan Markle would last no longer than a month and that Meghan was an opportunist whose history needed to be vetted more thoroughly. Harry and Andrew both have denied the report, though that doesn't necessarily mean it's true or false. We just don't know what to believe. Meghan was not dumb. She was strategic, and the facts attest to it. Chances are the whole thing would have blown over, but from a PR perspective, it's absurd to even comment on something so brief about a fight. Nevertheless, occasionally the biggest secrets are not hidden in their plain sight. Meghan Markle's ascension to royalty appears to be a tale of charm and circumstance, but closer inspection of her early associations shows odd coincidences and unjustified privilege. Each gathering she attended and each party she showed up at prior to meeting Harry suggests the presence of a pattern that most people overlook. Prior to Meghan becoming a duchess, she was merely another ambitious young actress attempting to get ahead. Even then, stories suggest she wasn't simply chasing fame. She was mapping a route to influence. A British journalist who met her over a decade ago described her as quiet and calculating, far from the confident public persona we know today. She did not boast about movie roles or celebrity aspirations. She spoke of her love life, broken relationships, and, more interestingly, her association with sports people and social elites. As she named footballer Ashley Cole, who had a notorious party lifestyle, her attitude changed the moment she knew everyone else was aware of him. Meghan was not on the lookout for love. She was watching, testing, and positioning herself among the correct people. Even at an early age, Meghan had a natural sense of timing and positioning. She understood which events to go to, who to meet, and what rumors to leak. Each word, look, and introduction felt calculated. A play in a much bigger game. Retrospectively, these meetings weren't incidental. They were on a template, a well-planned itinerary to the world of power and privilege into which she would soon enter. What seemed like charm and drive was preparation. She was reading the rules, learning the networks, and positioning herself for an ascendancy that would astonish the world. Her university years, usually described as a mixture of studying, internships, and early aspirations as an actress, don't quite add up. Officially, she spent a semester in Argentina, but later, she disappeared to Spain. No trace of an exchange program, host family, or classmates. Sorority sources say she wasn't just globetrotting. She was jetting through A-list circles, private boats, high-end parties, and with rich men. One name that keeps popping up is Elias, a billionaire who is also close to Prince Andrew. These were not casual friends, but people who could lead to doors most others can only imagine. Meghan's travels from Thailand to the Mediterranean appear planned, not spontaneous. But her official biography glosses over such specifics, instead drawing a picture of international elegance while obscuring ties that were anything but routine. These months were no minor aside. They expose a young Meghan going about things quietly behind the scenes and placing herself in spheres few outsiders entered. Her tactics went all the way up to the royal family. Given her enigmatic journeys to Spain and Thailand, her early social circle begins to make sense. Sorority sisters remember her boasting about Mediterranean vacations, partying from yacht to yacht, and encountering powerful men who allegedly altered the course of her life. What used to ring of hyperbole now coincidentally matches billionaire and royal movements in those same communities. One name keeps coming up, Elias, a man deeply connected to Prince Andrew and known for introducing young women to the glamorous side of global wealth. Sorority parties, charity events, and private gatherings became Meghan's unofficial networking grounds. She wasn't merely attending. She was strategically placed in front of the right people at the right time. The yachts weren't vacations. They were sets, private and painstakingly crafted, with guest lists available only to insiders. Meghan, unobtrusively ambitious and poised, was right at home in that milieu, gliding easily through senior social echelons. Her presence opened doors for her that most aspiring actresses could only hope for, setting the stage for the royal associations that would come to dominate her life. In Spare, Harry openly admitted to incidents that revealed more than he may have intended. No matter how much he tried to frame the Dog Bowl episode as William being a bully, it still showed that physical altercations took place. It wasn't luck or coincidence. Each appearance and introduction in Meghan's early years seemed meticulously orchestrated. This period of her life painted the picture of a young woman learning the rules of influence, understanding power, and carefully crafting a path toward a life most people could only imagine. The whispers, the yachts, the sorority connections, all formed a web of elite access that made her rise look less like happenstance and more like strategy. By 2012, Meghan Markle was no longer just a quiet sorority girl. She began making her first international appearances. But something about them fell off. Her trip to Hong Kong especially stood out. At the time, Suits wasn't yet a global hit, and she wasn't a major star. Yet she received first-class treatment, glamorous interviews, and access to venues typically reserved for established celebrities or even royalty. Around the same period, Prince Andrew was confirmed to be in Hong Kong. No one could prove they met, but no one denied it either. A clip once existed of Meghan mentioning royals during that trip, but it vanished from the internet without explanation. The timing alone raised eyebrows, suggesting that her presence in elite spaces Andrew frequented was intentional, not accidental. Harry, meanwhile, has a record of exaggerations, which add a layer of uncertainty to his accounts. Still, the pattern around Meghan's travels is intriguing. The missing footage, the high-level access, and her quiet proximity to power suggest a young woman moving strategically through networks where influence, wealth, and opportunity converged. The Hong Kong trip reads less like a professional venture and more like an initiation into the world of the elite. Meghan appeared to be learning how to navigate power circles discreetly, publicly charming and graceful, yet privately strategic and observant. In 2013, Meghan attended one of her first major elite events, the Novak Djokovic Foundation Gala in New York. It was no ordinary charity gathering. Royals, Hollywood icons, and global power players like Goldie Hawn, Naomi Campbell, Anna Wintour, Prince Andrew, Fergie, and Princess Eugenie were in attendance. Insiders claim Meghan was there too, though she wasn't on the guest list, and no official photos exist. Somehow, a then-minor TV actress with limited screen time managed to enter a room filled with global heavyweights. To the casual observer, she blended in effortlessly. But to those paying attention, her placement was deliberate. This pattern continued. Wherever Prince Andrew or his associates traveled, be it New York, Hong Kong, Istanbul, or the Mediterranean, Meghan's name seemed to surface nearby, though never prominently. It was as if she moved just beneath the spotlight, present but not exposed. This was more than coincidence. It wasn't fame or luck. It was access. She had learned early on how to navigate high-profile environments without leaving fingerprints, building relationships while maintaining an aura of mystery. If the Djokovic Gala was a training ground, then Soho House became her playground. Far more than a social club, it was a private network where the rich, famous, and influential gathered away from public view. Meghan not only had access, but used it strategically, attending events, meeting power players, and quietly positioning herself within elite circles. She appeared at gatherings in places like Soho House, Istanbul, often unrecognized by the press, yet always perfectly placed. Every encounter was a step forward, enough to be noticed, but never enough to draw suspicion. By the time she met Prince Harry, Meghan had already spent years weaving her way through a web of privilege and influence. Soho House wasn't just a hangout. It was her entryway into the rarefied world she was destined to join. She moved through it quietly, leaving subtle breadcrumbs that only now form a recognizable pattern. Her social footprint in the mid-2010s grew increasingly mysterious. Yacht trips across the Mediterranean, private events with billionaires, and whisper associations with figures connected to powerful and controversial circles. One of those figures was Corinne Shulio, reportedly one of Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriends. Meghan was photographed or spotted on yachts with Shulio and Deepak Chopra. The same Chopra who would later publicly praise her mentorship initiative for her 40th birthday. These weren't random encounters. They revealed her growing comfort within the nexus of wealth, status, and secrecy. By this stage, Meghan's path was no longer about acting ambitions. It was about positioning strategy and access. She wasn't stumbling into opportunity. She was orchestrating her ascent with care and precision. Every party, every introduction, every whisper behind closed doors was part of a larger, deliberate plan.